Hey, it's Mark Eitel, host of the Mr. Mortgage Show, and you are listening to the Daily Dose. And today I want to address a question that we get asked quite often. How can a parent help their child buy a property? And that's a byproduct of many, many things. We've gotten to a point with appreciation that housing is more expensive than it's ever been, and it's difficult for a lot of buyers to come up with the necessary down payment and closing costs. Also, too, we have rising interest rates, so some people may not qualify for the payment. And then lastly, there's a portion of the first-time buyers in particular that don't have adequate credit to qualify for the programs necessary to buy that property. So those are the three major challenges that we see addressed with a parent or another family member helping. And here's an overview of how the parent can help in each of those circumstances. So let's address the issue of not enough money to put down on the property and to pay closing costs. In that instance, the parent or family member can simply gift their child the funds necessary for the down payment and for the closing costs. Some loan programs limit how much of a gift the individual can receive, but as a general rule, the parent can gift those necessary funds. And there are a lot of protocols that need to be met in doing that. There's a gift letter that has to accompany the application. It's always best to have that conversation before you gift or receive the gift for the down payment. Now, here's a cool thing that a lot of people don't realize. The giver of the gift, in this instance, the parent, can use an equity line. They can actually borrow that money. It doesn't have to be cash, free and clear money. The caveat is the recipient cannot be obligated to repay it. But one thing we're seeing a lot of right now, as every homeowner has more equity than they've ever imagined because properties have appreciated so quickly, a lot of parents are sitting on a boatload of equity and they're going to their local bank, taking out an equity line of credit to use for the gift funds. And that's perfectly allowable. So a lot of parents are taking advantage of this newfound equity wealth and accessing it via an equity line of credit and then using that to gift the funds to the children to get them into the house, because that's a perfect example of why they want to encourage their children into ownership, because they have access to a ton of equity that they didn't have, as recently as 3 or 4 years ago. So that's one, gift funds. The other issue is the income that the borrower's income or that doesn't meet the required amounts to qualify for the mortgage. In that instance, the parent can be classed as a non-occupying co-borrower and, for lack of a better word, co-sign on the loan. Now, just as if you were to co-sign for your child's car, you're completely on the hook, just as they are. So if they miss a payment, that's going to adversely affect your credit score. You can co-sign as a non-occupying co-borrower, and they can qualify for the purchase as a primary residence. One more caveat to consider is the parent's income as well as their debt is going to be used in all of the calculations. If you're in a circumstance where you have very little or no income, but you still carry debt, that may adversely affect the circumstance, but it's always worth a look if the parent is willing to consider the non-occupying co-borrower status. So that's an option too. So you can gift the funds to assist with the down payment. The caveat being the recipient cannot be responsible to repay, and the gift letter explicitly states that this is a gift with no obligation of repayment. The second option is the non-occupying co-borrower status, where both incomes and both debt loads are calculated in the loan application. And then thirdly, we see some parents who buy the property either outright or with a mortgage and rent or lease the property to their children. And then at a point when there's adequate equity in the property and the children are able to qualify for a mortgage, sell it to them with a gift of equity. And that's an interesting strategy as well, because there's no limit on the amount of equity that you can gift in a transaction. So if you were to buy a property for $200,000 and you had a $150,000 mortgage and it appreciated to $400,000, well, you could sell it to your child or family member with a gift of equity. You could sell it for $400,000 and gift them $250,000 worth of equity. So that's another lesser known and often misunderstood strategy. So gift funds, non-occupying co-borrower, and then gift of equity are 3 strategies that we see employed most often when a parent wants to assist their children in buying a property. And most often it's their first property, but they don't have to be a first-time home buyer to employ these strategies. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you found any of this interesting, I would welcome you to share the show, share this link with somebody. If you have any friends, family, or coworkers who are thinking of buying or selling property, or they just have mortgage questions, introduce them to the show. We're live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on iHeartRadio. You can find us just by going to the iHeart app and searching The Mr. Mortgage Show, or you can go to MrMortgageRadio.com, and there you'll find all of the recorded episodes, the replays, if you will, of the radio show, as well as all these Daily Dose podcasts. And then lastly, check out the Facebook page. Go to Facebook and search The Mr. Mortgage Show, and we'll pop up. We post useful data and interesting articles there every day. And I guess I said lastly for Facebook, but one more plug. Check out the website. Go to www.mr.mortgage, never.com, just mr.mortgage. And that's our corporate site. There's a ton of good info there and calculators, and you'll find a lot of useful info there too. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Again, my name is Mark Eitel, host of the Mr. Mortgage Show. You've been listening to the Daily Dose, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Thank you.